All right, so we've all been there, right?
Mm.
You're trying to run a class, or maybe even just a virtual meeting,
Oh, absolutely.
and you're trying to keep everyone focused on the task at hand, but, you just know that the infinite rabbit hole of the internet is sitting one click away for everybody.
It really is the defining challenge. For anyone in EdTech, the struggle is always how you manage the power of that device without, completely stifling the learning potential.
It's a very fine line.
It is. And it requires system-level solutions, not just telling people to pay attention.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into an update that really aims to redefine that exact line. It's about moving from that reactive monitoring to something much more like proactive environmental control. We've pulled our material from the November 2025 Transformations newsletter, which is published by the Jeffco Ed Tech Department, and it highlights Google's new class tools.
And they're billing this as one of the biggest singular updates to come out of Google for the classroom in years. It's a huge deal.
So our mission today is to really unpack this tool. It's designed specifically to transform classroom learning, but only when it's running on Chromebooks.
Right.
And that is so crucial for you to understand right from the start. The newsletter is very clear. This is a dedicated management layer, and it operates entirely Chromebook to Chromebook. What does that mean exactly, Chromebook to Chromebook?
It means both the teacher and the students have to be in that same managed system. It's built for these deeply integrated, fully managed digital ecosystems. It won't work if a student brings their own Mac or Windows laptop.
Okay, so that's a key barrier. And for you, the listener, while our source is specific to one district's rollout, the implications here are pretty universal.
They are.
This tool is built on centralization for a reason. It needs that deep administrative system access to work, which really signals a huge trend in modern ed tech.
The trend towards system lock-in to get that high-level control.
Exactly. So once you have that managed foundation in place, how does a class actually connect?
Well, that's the thing. It sounds incredibly smooth. The source notes that you can launch a class tools session instantly.
Instantly from where?
Either directly from Google Classroom, which is already the hub for most teachers, or you can just use a simple join code. The barrier to entry, the technical side of starting a session, it's basically zero.
So that ease of use, you combine that with the EdTech team's assessment here. They're calling it high impact on engagement. That feels like a major strategic shift.
It is. They aren't just, releasing a piece of software. It feels more like they're rolling out a structural change to maximize that instructional time.
And they clearly expect everyone to use it based on the resources they've already put together.
Oh, for sure. They have a full support package ready to go. There's a dedicated video tutorial for class tools, a really detailed slide deck that outlines all the features, and a Google Help article.
When you see that kind of coordinative support, they see this as a foundational pillar. This isn't some optional add-on.
Not at all.
And just to connect this to the broader picture, the newsletter also pointed to another resource, a more general one, for any teacher who's new to using Chromebooks as their main device.
Right. So they're thinking about the whole pipeline, both the specific new tool and the general move towards this kind of centralized digital teaching.
Okay, so we've covered the requirements and the setup. Let's get into what really makes this tool transformative, the high-impact features.
Let's do it.
First up, the feature that's designed to, quote, keep learning distraction-free. I mean, for any teacher who's fought the battle of the 17 open tabs.
With a secret video stream running on one of them.
Yes. This is the holy grail. This is supposed to solve that eternal problem.
It really is a fundamental shift. We're moving from just monitoring what students are doing, looking at their screen history after the fact, to actively managing the device's functionality in real time.
Monitoring is reactive. This is proactive.
Aggressively proactive.
So walk us through the mechanism. The source material uses some very specific, very powerful wording here. It says, once a session starts, students can only navigate away when the teacher explicitly releases them.
That's right. It's a hard system-level lock. It is an unprecedented level of integrated control.
So the Chromebook essentially becomes, what, a single-purpose device?
For the duration of that lesson, yes. The teacher isn't just asking students to stay on task. The system is enforcing it. You are locked into the specific web links, the documents, whatever the teacher has pushed to you.
So no more sneaking a check of social media. No more switching over to a video game walkthrough in the middle of a history lesson.
Exactly. It just removes that whole low-stakes battle of digital evasion that teachers fight every single day.
From a pedagogical view, that changes the cognitive load, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Think about the energy a student spends on self-regulation, or the energy a teacher spends on just being vigilant, on screen checks.
All of that is now freed up to just focus on the subject matter.
The device is transformed. It goes from being a portal to the entire world into a dedicated, managed learning machine for that period of time.
It does raise an interesting question, though, about digital citizenship. Are we teaching students to resist temptation, or are we just removing it?
That's the philosophical debate this sparks for sure. Is it creating better long-term habits or just better managed classrooms in the short term?
A debate we need to have. But while we're on that, we can't overlook the next major feature, which is all about inclusion and accessibility.
Right. This one is aimed squarely at, quote, ensure every student understands.
This is huge. It speaks directly to diverse learning needs, to language barriers. The source points to two incredibly powerful elements here.
The inclusion of automatic captions and real-time translations.
This is technology actually fulfilling its promise.
It really is. I mean, think about a classroom where students might speak a dozen different native languages.
Historically, bridging that gap was a nightmare. You needed human aids, expensive specialized hardware, or a bunch of clunky external apps that never quite worked right.
Right. But now, imagine a teacher is explaining a complex concept. Let's say something in advanced chemistry.
Okay.
And you have a student who primarily speaks Arabic. The content is automatically captioned and translated in real time right there on their managed screen.
So the language barrier it dissolves
Right.
at the point of instruction.
It standardizes immediate linguistic support. And it's not just for English language learners. Think about hearing impaired students who rely on captioning.
Or even just auditory learners who get a boost from seeing the text at the same time.
Exactly. It takes translation from being this big infrastructure hurdle and just makes it an assumed default feature of the environment.
The implications for how you design a curriculum around that are massive.
Huge. Teachers don't have to create separate, simplified tracks anymore. They can trust the technology to provide that scaffold in the moment and teach high-level concepts to everyone at once.
Maintaining consistency across the whole class.
Yeah.
That's key.
Every student gets the same core instruction, just with the necessary supports baked right in. It's a leap.
Okay, so beyond control and accessibility, there's the workflow piece, the time teachers waste just sharing links and getting everyone on the same page. Class Tools tackles this with instant resource sharing.
This is pure high-impact efficiency, and the flexibility is what's notable. Teachers can instantly push content to the entire class from a bunch of different sources.
The source lists,
Yeah, what's that?
Google Classroom, open browser tabs, or any web link.
Right, and that ability to push an open browser tab is, I think, a game changer for keeping momentum in a lesson.
How so?
Well, if a teacher finds a relevant news article or suddenly realizes students need some background reading mid-lesson.
They can just push that page out to everyone instantly, without losing 5 minutes while everyone tries to type in a long URL.
And because of the navigation lock we just talked about, they know everyone is looking at exactly what they need to be looking at. The instructional flow is just seamless.
So you have these three features together: the navigation lockdown, the real-time linguistic support, and the instant sharing. It really does sound like a cohesive system.
It is. It's built for high-stakes, uninterrupted, and inclusive learning.
Now, sticking with that theme of control and managed environments, the newsletter also mentioned another update in the broader Google ecosystem. This one is about Google Meet.
That's right. So if Class Tools is about controlling the student experience inside the digital classroom, this next update is about controlling who even gets into the room in the first place.
The new waiting room experience in Google Meet.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all heard the horror stories. Security issues in remote conferences, people accidentally joining sensitive meetings.
It's a real problem. Open virtual rooms can be very difficult to manage. So this update addresses that need for controlled entry, for gatekeeping.
So for you, the listener, if you're running remote parent-teacher conferences or professional development sessions,
The host now has the option to send everyone into a virtual waiting room before they can join the main call.
and from there, the host can see a list of who's trying to get in, verify them, and then admit them one by one or in batches.
It's a huge boost for security and just organization, especially with large, semi-public virtual events.
It's an essential refinement. And, conceptually, that waiting room for Meet really parallels the navigation lockdown in Class Tools.
That's a great point. How do you see that?
Well, both are about the host or the teacher asserting full control over the boundaries of the environment, whether that boundary is the door to the meeting or the student's browser.
That's the trend, isn't it? A systemic shift away from reactive defense to this proactive, integrated environmental control. It's happening across all of Google's platforms.
So if we zoom back out, the whole ClassTools platform is remarkable because it really commits to operating at that managed system level.
It leverages that mandatory Chromebook structure to deliver features that just fundamentally change how teaching happens.
So to recap for our listeners, we're talking about a single platform that offers
Correct.
unparalleled classroom management.
A system that eliminates digital distractions with that navigation lock.
It instantly removes accessibility barriers with real-time translation and captioning.
And it streamlines sharing resources down to a single click.
But we have to reiterate that foundational piece. For you, the listener, you have to remember this whole transformation, this ClassTool system, is specific to the Chromebook platform.
It relies entirely on being inside that dedicated, managed ecosystem. That's the price of admission, so to speak, for this kind of seamless control.
And that powerful integration brings us to our final thought. We've just discussed a tool that uses system-level control to ensure focus and AI to ensure comprehension.
We've largely solved the problem of the device being a distraction, and we've mitigated a lot of the linguistic hurdles to access. So the question for you to take away is this. Given that technology can now physically lock a student onto the right material and linguistically support them in real time, what are the next technological steps we need to take? What's next to guarantee true, comprehensive learning engagement?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can manage the hardware. We can translate the content. But how does technology move beyond just controlling the external environment to actually influencing the internal cognitive process?
How do we guarantee deep, lasting understanding?
That challenge, that frontier of motivating and structuring genuine internal knowledge acquisition, that remains the biggest question in all of educational technology.
Yes, certainly does.
Food for thought. Thanks for joining us for the Deep Dive.
Always a pleasure.